everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, thank you all very much for coming out and celebrating our rebrand opening of Island Park Store. How many people, by a show of hands, have shopped here before? Good. I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with what you're about to see. Okay, he gets the prize for observations. How we got here was, if you remember, about 13 months ago, we had a little weather event called Irma, and the store got flooded. Had about 8 inches of water in it. Now, we could have cleaned up the water and reopened, but we decided that it would be our best interest to retrofit the store with the help of our partners so that we never have to worry, God forbid, we have another event like that again. So that's what you're going to see when you go in there. Most people are familiar with our stores, but they really don't know what our stores do. Goodwill's mission is to provide opportunities for people with disabilities and disadvantages. And I'm going to name real briefly 3 programs that we do. One is housing. Most people don't know that this Goodwill is the largest provider of housing in Southwest Florida for people with disabilities. The second program is what we call our Pathways program. And it's an adult day training program for adults with disability. We teach them 2 things. 1, how to get a job, and 2, life skills to make them independent. Things that you and I normally take for granted, they have to be taught. The third one is our Trailways Camp. 3 times a year, 4 days, 3 nights, we run a camp for adults with disability. The ages range from 18 to 72. Now, we would be unable to do this. Last year we served 28,000 people. We would be unable to do that if it was not for you shopping in the store and the folks that donate to the store, because that's what these stores do. They provide the economic engine that supports our programs and services. So give yourselves a big hand. We thank you very much. Feel free when you get inside to spend as much money as you like. We have no problem with that. A couple special guests I'd like to introduce. This young lady to my left, Charlotte Cody, is from Larry Kiker, the County Commissioner's Office. Give her a round of applause. I have several of my board members here. John Simmons, right here, has been on our board for quite a few years. Where's your husband?
Right here,
Danny Adams hiding behind the pole here. So they're very supportive of what we do, and I'm very glad to have them. There was supposed to be Kathy Spear here. Is she here today? Haven't seen her. Okay. All right, I'm going to introduce the gentleman that is the architect for what you're going to see. But there's some ground rules first. John Nadeau, this is his store. Him and his team have done what you see here. Now, if there's things in the store that you like, that's me. If there are things that you dislike, John, it's all you.
Thanks, Rick. For anybody that knows me, I'm going to start telling stories, so just get relaxed. You know, I was here that fateful night when the flooding happened. I was actually here. I was summoned here, myself and most of my retail team. I was standing right there with the shop vac trying to keep the water out of this thing. And we had people all around the perimeter with shop vacs, mops, towels, and it kept getting worse and worse. After about 6 hours of doing that, finally decided it's not happening. So we left, came back the next day, and you know what happened. So at that point, we had a choice to make. We could, as Rick said, we could just put the store back the way it was. We didn't really like that because who's to say it wouldn't flood again? So the decision was made to actually raise this store about 12 inches, re-slope the parking lot, totally redo the store on the inside. Well, that is a number with a lot of zeros behind it. And we're Goodwill, we're a nonprofit, so that wasn't really appealing to us. So we reached out. We have a partner called Piedmont Company, and they're a developer for us, and they build stores and they lease them back to us. And they'd always told us that if we ever had a store we wanted to sell, they would buy it and lease it back for us. So Doug Stewart, our VP of Finance, who's standing back there. And Doug and I called Gary Falkenberry, who's our Piedmont guy, and said, hey, you said you wanted to buy a store. We got one for you. He said, oh, really? Tell me about it. I said, well, it's our Island Park store. It's a great store. It's been our flagship store for many years. It has a few issues with it. I said, but here's how the deal's going to work. I'm going to tell you how much you're going to pay us for the store. You're going to fix the store, and then you're going to lease it back to us at a number that works for me. And he said, gee, that sounds like a great deal. Let me talk to my boss. So he talked to his boss, Willie Hefner. That's what ended up happening. They bought this from us. They refurbished it. They leased it back at a rate that we can afford to pay. And without Piedmont, this could not have happened. So I really want to give special thanks to Piedmont Company, Willie Hefner, the owner, Gary Falkenberry. I want a big round of applause for them because this couldn't be possible. So we had an owner, then we needed somebody to come in to fix this thing. Well, luckily, we have a contractor that's a very good friend of Goodwill. He's been a good friend of ours for many years. He was the guy for the job. He came in, he put it all together, and what you see in here is the result of a lot of work by a lot of different trades. But Steve Bowen Construction is the guy that put together. Steve, you're here someplace? And Steve's help to Goodwill isn't just here. He does a lot of things for us. And he gives us the cousins rate, he likes to call it. So. And we have one other vendor I'd like to point out. Butch is our IT consultant. He likes to call himself. Butch, are you here? Raise your hand.
He's hiding.
He's in there working in the store. So, but Butch is the other guy that does a lot of things for us. So my job here now is to give thanks to people. As you can imagine, this takes a lot of work. Our facilities team. Derwin Hussey is our director of facilities. Doug Lavelle, George Gonzalez, they're the people that actually did the work here. So would you guys raise your hand, please? All of the departments, our IT department, our marketing department, HR, transportation, Bill Tersian, the LP department, everyone contributes to this. I won't say it takes a village, but it takes our entire organization to do something like this. So I want to personally thank all of the departments outside of retail that helped put us together. You never want to just single out anybody, but there's one guy that kind of leads the effort of remodels for me, and he's one of our district directors. He's been in retail his whole life. He worked in his prior life with Rick, and so Rick was familiar with him. But the finish and all the detail in here is all the responsibility of Tony Petralia. So Tony, thank you very much. And then of course, we also bring in a lot of store managers, we bring in district managers. The district manager for this store has put a lot of work and effort in for the last 2 months trying to get this thing staffed and get it ready to go. Chris Karmelakis. Chris. Now, 2 more things and I'm off the stage. Any of you that shopped here know that Cindy Scott has been the manager here for longer than I've been here, longer than Rick's been here, longer than Rick and I together here. Cindy has accepted a different challenge than this store, and she's not going to be the store manager here. But in order for her to accept that other challenge, she said, I have to be involved in the grand opening, and I have to be there for a week or 2 to see my customers, to let them know. You know, she demanded to be here, so Cindy. So as you know, and I have to thank you, we had a little temporary store across the street just to kind of keep our presence in this market. Cindy ran that, and thanks to you, we actually did pretty good over there. Now we're going to do a lot better over here, but that was our way of just kind of trying to stay in the market, because Island Park has always been a really important store for us. It's been our flagship store for many years, and it's back to that. Now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our new store manager, who I think has a long speech, Matt Ray. Matt?
So I'm going to make this brief. I'm sure you're all ready to donate, shop, change your life. Yes. So I want to welcome you. We were all looking forward to welcoming you all to our newly remodeled store. I've assembled a great staff. I look forward to working with them to better serve you. So at this time, I would like the Chamber of Commerce, that's right, the Board of Directors, the Chamber, Greater Chamber of Fort Myers, and of course, Rick and the senior staff to cut the ribbon.
Yay.
Senator.
1, 2, 3.
Oh. Not the freakiness again.
All right, let's go shopping.
I'm glad you got it. My phone like is crappy with that. I got a few things.
Thank you everybody for coming out. Where'd all these people come from? Oh, there's no one at our table.
Yeah, we gotta get in there.
I see a whole lot of people coming.